What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GA Fan TV. It is Derry versus Dublin in the National Football League. It's a live watch-along, as always, on the channel. And here we go. Derry versus Dublin in Division 2. A heavyweight clash in Division 2. Make no mistake about it. The top two sides in Division 2, both with a 100% record. And as per usual, I'm going to be reacting to the game live, watching the game, discussing the game with you lads in the comments. And yeah, for anyone who's watching the game, feel free to obviously tune into this stream at the same time or whatever way you want to do it for some alternative commentary, as they shall say. So, look, very, very excited for this. I think as a Dublin fan, it's definitely the most I've been excited about a game in Division 2. Even though I don't think the game is going to go particularly well for us, to be honest. I think Derry are going to beat us quite comfortably. And I'm actually quite worried that this game could be a fair hammering from a Dublin perspective. But sure, look, we'll live in hope. We'll live in hope, and you know, the fact that we know Dublin have the players there to put in a performance to run it close to Derry, and there is that part of me, and maybe it's a biased Dublin fan, that wouldn't actually be surprised if Dublin turned up for this game, produced their best league performance of the season, but then, you know, went out next week against Meath and got beat. Do you know that way? Like that's kind of how I would look at it, because I'm sure when the fixtures were announced, Desi Farrell and Dublin would have looked at this game and thought, that's a game we need to be up for, because, you know, the last thing that Dublin need is a hammering or anything like that, because I think confidence-wise, it doesn't look good. And, you know, who knows how much of a difference it could make him, you know, in terms of score difference, although it's probably unlikely that it would come down to that. You just never quite know. Sky Glass says, I'm just here for the sake of it. Good to see Derry have the Canada flag of the badge. Fair enough. On Far says, I'll be honest, I'm a bit worried about this one. Yeah, me too. But yeah, like I think it'll be an interesting game, because I'd imagine Dublin will play. They'll probably try and mirror Derry and be quite defensive. I think it actually might be a bit of a boring game. But I think the worst thing that could happen is if Derry start strong and get an early goal and go 5 or 6 up early on, because then, you know, it could be very, very hard for Dublin to get back into it. And it's mad. Like, who would have thought a couple of years ago when Derry were in Division 4 and Dublin were, you know, in Division 1 winning All-Ireland after All-Ireland, that, you know, the next time the two sides would play each other, Derry would be favourites, you know. And in the space of 2 years, it's kind of crazy how quick time has changed. Sky Glass says most of us would say Dublin will win, and that's is kind of true. I don't know. I think I'm not too sure what the bookies probably have Dublin as favourites, because they kind of always have Dublin as favourites. But I think most GAA people you would speak to up and down the country would probably tell you that Derry are the favourites. In my opinion, anyways. Just when you look off the form. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll run through both teams. Now, there have been a couple of changes, and, you know, very much expecting Dublin to make a couple of changes. I haven't seen the changes yet, but I've seen some of the players on the bench. But this was the team, anyway, that Dublin have named to start. And as I said, there's definitely going to be wholesale changes here. But David O'Hanlon in goal, Darren Newcombe, Sean McMahon and Lee Gannon make up the full-back line. James McCarthy, John Small and Keane Murphy in the half-forward line. Brian Fenton and Tom Lahiff in midfield. Half-forward line is Kieran Kilkenny, Ross McGarry and Noel Scully. And the full-forward line is Cormac Costello, Dean Rock and Con O'Callaghan. The Derry side then, Oren Lynch in goal, Chrissy McCaig, Owen McAvoy and Conor McCluskey make up the full-back line. Conor Doherty, Porrick McGrogan and Porrick Cassidy make up the half-back line. Conor Glass and Brendan Rodgers are in midfield, and it's Niall Toner, Paul Cassidy and Ethan Doherty in the half-forward line, and Benny Heron, Shane McGuigan and Niall Loughlin make up the Derry full-forward line. So we will see what late changes there have been. I've seen Sean McMahon is on the bench there. Just checking the score BO app to see if they have the new if they have the new players in there. So Lorcan O'Dell is in the side, Owen Merchant's in the side, Davy Burns in the side. You'd expect Mick Fitzsimons is in the side as well. So interesting to see there. And yeah, that seems to be the main changes anyway. No Jack McCaffrey to start, which is, I suppose, a little bit disappointing. I thought a game like this would have suited him quite well, just because, Dublin are probably going to have to do a lot of running and a lot of chasing Derry, and they need men to get up and down the pitch as quick as possible. Is it a bit early to throw a Jack McCaffrey in a game like this, where it's going to be physically tough and a very demanding game? But yeah, a little bit disappointing there. And it will be interesting to see how they, because they, just looking at it there, Lee Gannon, Mick Fitzsimons, Davy Byrne probably in the full back line, and then Darren Newcombe maybe to come into the half back line. Interesting, all right. Looks like we definitely are playing with an extra defender, because Owen Merchant's in the side as well, and he usually plays a cornerback or in the half back line. So we're going to play with an extra defender anyway, but it looks of things. No Ross McGarry, so he's not starting. And yeah, no Keane Murphy, no Sean McMahon. So definitely a few late changes there from a Dublin perspective. From a Derry perspective, they don't usually make changes, late changes as such. They usually stick to the team they name, and that does look to be the case looking at it on Score BO here. But we will see what happens there. Plenty of comments flying in here, so much appreciated. Skyglass says Derry are having the Dublin slump like they did last year. A little bit, but I think at the same time, Kerry are getting wins. We lost our opening 4 games of the league last year, whereas Kerry have won 2 and lost 2. On Farsa, spot on. Since the early 90s, we'd be expected to walk over Derry. Oh, how the tables have turned. Yeah, look, Derry's always a tough place to go. I think the last time we played Derry in Owenbeg, away from home in the league, I actually think Derry beat us. I think that was in 2014 or 2015. So look, it's always a tough place to go, in fairness. Lahif is a no for me. He's an athlete for sure, but he's not a natural footballer. Desi seems to be persisting with him, and I'm sorry, but I just haven't seen it with him. He's he keeps it simple, and yeah, he probably, compared to the midfielders we've had in the past, he probably doesn't quite offer, he doesn't offer what Fenton offers or what James McCarthy offers, or even what Michael Darragh Macaulay used to offer. But that's definitely been a position that Dublin have struggled to fill. I think that sort of partnering midfielder. We've gone, Patrick Kovic-Byrne at times has looked like he's going to be the man to come in. Craig Diaz has been on the bench. I think he was on the bench the last day. Some would say maybe it's not wise to put him in the midfield, because, you kind of want to start building more so for the future. But, if you were to pick the 2 best midfielders in Dublin right now, for me, it would be Craig Diaz and Brian Fenton. But no Craig Diaz in the squad there from having a look. Test Case says, Aaron, I was listening to Sean Kavanagh. He doesn't. If you want, I'm not too sure what you're saying there, mate. But if you want to let me know what he did say. On Far says, what's the weather doing? Never underestimate the influence it can have on a heavy pitch this time of the year. Yeah, just looking at the pitch there, definitely a few marks and whatnot. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. The weather in that part of the country is always fierce and tough. But yeah, Skyglass says Dublin suffered a humiliating defeat to Armagh Kerry and had a humiliating defeat to Mayo. And Test Case says here, I was listening to Sean Kavanagh. He doesn't think are making a big step for this year. I agree with his point. I feel Dublin are going slow. Yeah, I think there's there definitely is some argument to it. All right, it has been. There definitely doesn't look like progress this year. And actually, what we might do is we'll throw up the division table actually just before we get into it. And when we look at the statistics, actually, you see Derry and Dublin both lock level with 8 points. Obviously, a win tonight 100% guarantees promotion pretty much. You'd have to then go to head or different scenarios. But I think whoever wins tonight will 100% be promoted. I think it's very likely that either side get promoted anyway. But anyway, but actually, like if you look at the score difference, the second last column right beside the points, you'll see Derry on a +40, whereas Dublin on a +13. Like that's actually quite a low score difference for a side who have won 4 games. I'm not too sure if I've ever seen that before. Like you look at Cork, they're on a +31 score difference, but yet they've lost 2 games. So it's a little bit unusual. And Cork obviously beat Limerick by 24 points, which probably gave them a big influence. But Dublin haven't put teams to the sword in Division 2. Even Limerick, Derry blitzed Limerick, beat them by 14 points, I think it was, or 12 points. Dublin, beat them by I think 7 or 8 in the end. So definitely a few worries, but we'll see what happens in the game. Cork are in third. They sure are. They sure are in third. And as he also said there, Kildare are possibly in big trouble in the relegation zone. Both sides just singing the national anthem and everything else there. So we should be underway in just a moment time, and I will throw up the score as always as we go along. In terms of a score prediction, I think it will be a 6-point win for Derry. Like I definitely hope I'm wrong, to be honest with you, and I think it will be low scoring just because of looking at Dublin, they're playing with an extra defender. It's going to be a lot of men. Like Dublin have been playing this way anyway. Against Kildare and against Clare at times. So, looking at it, you'd imagine Dublin are going to try mirror Derry. They're going to try play them at their own game, which, to be fair, is probably actually how we should play, because I don't think we're in good enough form to go toe to toe with Derry and beat them. But yeah, so I think if I was to go to score prediction, I'd go for something like this: Derry 111, Dublin 8 points. I really hope I'm wrong. Dublin just scoring 8 points is such a low margin, but that's been the general. That's been the average amount that Derry have been conceding so far this season. But we'll have to wait and see. But the ball has just been thrown in, so we are underway. Derry and Dublin, Division 2 of the National Football League. Very likely that we meet Derry again, actually, in the league final in a couple of weeks' time. And who knows, could even play each other in the championship as well. It's very, very likely. But Dublin have won the throw-in with Fenton, so Dublin in early possession. Be interesting to see if Dublin can bring their A game to this one. Gavin says spit in the hands already. Yeah, he's some man, Rory Gallagher, isn't he? He is some man indeed. And Dublin might be in straight away here, but I think we have taken a point. We do take a point. That's a lovely score, actually, from Cormac Costello. Dublin with the opening score of the game. Bit of a backdoor cut there into Costello from Kilkenny. Derry were well covered, actually, in the end. But just for a split second, you thought there might have been a goal chance. That's definitely a positive sign from a Dublin perspective. When you think of it, last weekend, Kildare kicked just 2 points from play in the full 70 minutes against Derry, and that was in Newbridge. Dublin have so far kicked half of that in the opening minute of the game versus Derry here, so that's definitely a positive. And Dublin have started fast here. We've definitely started fast. That's another good turnover in around midfield. The lads do look bang up for it so far. You have to say that. And Con O'Callaghan, Dublin venturing forward here. Thoughts on the Croke Park factor for Dublin? Does it still exist? Yeah, it's I don't know. I just think teams are not as afraid as what they were. Like even I was at the Dublin Clare game, and Clare just went for Dublin. Like a few years ago, Clare probably just would have packed their own inside their 45, and just and probably just accepted defeat. Whereas now, I think teams look at Dublin and think we actually have a chance. Here's James McCarthy. Dublin might be in again. James McCarthy, maybe a chance for a goal, little flick. Oh, and Derry just about get away with it. And Dublin have started very, very fast. Derry, I don't even think have had the ball yet. This is their first time they've really been on the ball. Derry have sat back very, very deep, even for the early stages of this game. Is obviously very early days, as On Far says here as well. So certainly we can't get too carried away. But good bit of play though from Dublin. Like, they're moving the ball fast, moving the ball quickly. Definitely playing a huge running game. Be interesting to know the weather conditions as well, like what way the breeze is. Does the breeze favour Dublin or does it favour Derry? In this half, I'd be interested to know. Obviously, can't really tell watching on TV, but Dublin have definitely started very, very fast indeed. Derry in possession now for the first time in the game. That midfield battle, very, very fascinating. Conor Glass, Brian Fenton in there. Probably the two best midfielders in the country, you could say. Derry in possession for the first time in the game. Dublin have brought a lot of supporters down to Owen Begg into Celtic Park. From what I heard as well, it was packed out, fully packed. I was even thinking about going to the game when I woke up this morning. I was thinking, should I go just for the crack? But I seen the tickets were sold out, unfortunately. That's what you get when you leave it too late. But just looking at the stands there, it doesn't look like you could probably fit a few more people in that Dublin section, to be fair, but probably is full. Derry just keeping possession here, being calm, not really doing too much on the ball. Dublin set up well here, but Derry get their opening score of the game, and that's a good score there from Shane McGuigan. Pops it over. Derry were patient, but waited for the right opportunity. And that was a lovely, lovely score there from Shane McGuigan. Very, very good score indeed. Got away from Lorcan O'Dell, who was actually playing almost as a wing back there by the looks of things. So it'd be interesting to see, all right, where some of these Dublin players play. Lorcan O'Dell dropping a lot further back. Owen Merchant wearing number 6, I think there, is it? Or that might be Tom or John Small, I think. Well, here's Dublin anyway on the ball. 1 point apiece so far in the opening 5 minutes. It's been an interesting start here on Kilkenny. Puts it a good bit wide. Kilkenny just hasn't quite been in his usual form this year, which has been worrying, because even last year and in 2021, when Dublin struggled at different stages in the year, I always felt that Kieran Kilkenny was the consistent player, but his performances definitely have dipped in the last couple so far this year, it must be said. Oh, yeah, wrong one there. Sorry about that. I've too many tabs open here at the one time. But there we go. One point apiece. I think that was my prediction that was coming up earlier. Who knows? Might end up that way, but hopefully not. Anyways, hopefully not. 1 point apiece here so far, as Dublin go forward with the ball. Dean Rock, Dublin's top scorer in the league so far, albeit the majority of which have been from play. Here's Mick Fitzsimons getting quite far forward. You'd imagine Dublin will be quite reliant on, cornerbacks and wingbacks. There's an effort that's gone in towards the square, and it goes off to the top of the crossbar, and I think it's gone over the bar in the end. It has. I think Brian Fenton was going for the point originally. He's definitely going for the point. He's definitely not looping that in there. But he underhits it. You've got Cormac Costello, who actually I think got the final touch on the ball, hits it against the crossbar, and then it goes over. So Dublin back in front by a point, 2 points to 1. Strong start by Dublin so far. They've brought the game to Derry. They're going at Derry. 2 points from play so far. We've already done what Kildare done last week. So great to see. But Dublin retracting now into their own defensive shell, trying to limit what Derry bring to the table. Obviously, still very, very early days just yet, and you would expect it to be a cagey enough game. You've got Brendan Rodgers in midfield as well for Derry. I mean, it's a strong Derry midfield with Rogers and Connor Glass. Derry now venturing forward. Dublin very well set up here defensively. In fairness, there's no real. There's not much room for Derry to get a score off, but they do go for the score there, and that looks like it was dragged a little bit wide. First wide of the game from a Derry perspective, and it comes from the wing back Cassidy. Without question, it was 100% wide. Test case says I'm going 1-9 to 8 points to Derry. That's definitely low scoring, all right. Definitely a low scoring prediction there. Dubs better not have an extra man playing against the Derry side, like in the club final. Yeah, I'm sure the stewards will be watching quite closely. Who knows? Maybe Darragh Mullen might make an appearance. I have been disappointed actually not to see him involved so far this year. Whether the Kilmacud Crokes lads are just getting a break for now, I don't really know. But it would be good to see Darragh Mullen, Theo Clancy, Dan O'Brien, these lads come into the Dublin team, because I think they could definitely make an impact. Derry have won a free here, but from the looks of things there. So it's bread and butter really here for Derry. I would have thought Shane McGuigan would have been standing over it, but that's not quite the case. Big opportunity here. I think it's Niall Toner, is it? It is Niall Toner. And definitely looks to be a bit of a breeze there. And Niall Toner has put it wide. So definitely a bit of a breeze there, maybe. Kind of blowing from the opposite side there. So maybe Dublin have the advantage in terms of the good old nature in this half. John says Kildare need to stay up, otherwise their only route to the Sam Maguire is through Dublin in the Leinster semi-final, and that's an unlikely route. Yeah, I think I just you couldn't see that happening, to be honest with you. Like Dublin have regressed in the last couple of years, but looking at the form Kildare are in, it's not looking too good. But here come Dublin now, going down the other end. They're really running for Derry's throat, trying to make a game of it, and was a good bit of play there. I think it might have been Lorcan O'Dell maybe who was making that run forward, but nothing doing. I'm not too sure what the referees actually called in the end. I thought maybe he'd called it back for a Dublin free, but not quite the case. 2 points to 1 so far. 10 minutes in. It is a cagey game so far, and the conditions are obviously playing its part. Definitely seems to be maybe a bit of a wind in the in that part of the country. Dublin, a lot of men inside their own 45. Very well set up. It's hard here for Derry, and this definitely does look like Derry's toughest test maybe so far in the league. I think Derry have struggled when they play teams who sort of play in a similar game to them, and that's a good bit wide there from Chrissy McKaig. So that's wide number 3 for Derry. They're shooting, just letting them down ever so slightly here at the start of this game. And this is a big match for Derry as well, because when you think about it, you look at Derry's big games last year, big teams they played outside of Ulster. The likes of Galway, Roscommon, they couldn't win them, so it would be a big win psychologically if they could beat Dublin. But I think Dublin have played the better so far, must be said. I think we've been a little bit more clinical, and we've just been a little bit better in front of goal, but still even Stevens here, as the scoreline very much suggests. Here's a ball played inside there from Kilkenny. I think it's Kieran Kilkenny wearing the number 10. Bit of space opens up. Derry are dropping off. They're allowing Dublin to have shots from distance, and that's a very, very good score there from Lee Gannon, and Dublin move back to the 2 point or move 2 points in front for the first time in the game. You see Lee Gannon there with the real sort of fist pump after putting that ball over the bar. This game looks like it matters a lot to Dublin, and that was a great score from Lee Gannon. I think that is the danger maybe from a Derry perspective, and that might be maybe the difference between the two sides. If Derry's sitting very, very deep, like Dublin do have the players to punish Derry in terms of shooting from distance. If Derry have a lot of men inside their own 45, whereas do Derry have the players necessarily to punish Dublin from distance? Like, other than Glass, Brendan Rodgers to a certain extent, and obviously McGuigan if he drops, a little bit deeper. So that's could be a bit of a difference between the two sides. But 3 points to 1 early on for Dublin. Very happy with this so far after 12 minutes, but we still have a long way to go. A long way to go. And there's another effort from distance. That's another wide. That's wide number 4 for Derry. Rush that chance a little bit. Rushing their chances. This time the centre back there with the effort goes a good bit wide of the target. Rory Gallagher there. Look at him on the sideline. There's plenty of spit coming out there. He's panicking. Oh, early days. Are you doing a watch along between Roscommon versus Mayo in the height of 2:45? Probably not, but I will watch the game anyways and probably do a reaction after the game. Definitely looking forward to it. A lot of great games tomorrow as well. Tyrone versus Kerry. You've got Armagh versus Donegal obviously on after this as well. So definitely a lot of games to be excited for this weekend. Tom says Dublin getting off to a good start. They might be up for this one. They certainly do look up for this one. Northern Ireland Railway says I'm at the match. Good to hear. Be interested to know is there, what the weather's like, or is there conditions wise. There's another point for Dublin. They start very strong. Definitely from looking at it, maybe a breeze favouring Dublin. Don't know if I'm right in saying that. Kind of from looking at both sides shooting, but Dublin have started very, very strong. And Derry just haven't really got the grips with Dublin at all here. Another big point from Conor O'Callaghan. 3 points to the good. And I have to say, this is very good. This is very, very good indeed. And, a win would definitely secure promotion. We already have a 4-point advantage over the final two teams and should be beating Meath and Louth in our final two matches. Meath away, I think, would be tricky. Louth are in great form and fairness. But you'd surely imagine Dublin be favourites in that game. Would have been a Crow Park. But look, 3 points to the good. It's looking good after 15 minutes. Derry have had just the same amount of shots as Dublin, 5 shots each, but Dublin have converted 4, whereas Derry have only converted 1. So shooting accuracy has been poor from a Derry perspective. There's a foul from Tom Lahiff there from the looks of things. And this will be a chance for Derry to, I suppose, stem the bleeding ever so slightly. So, big opportunity for Derry. As it is Shane McGuigan who stands over it. Big chance for Derry. And he puts it over. It's a good score from Shane McGuigan. Brings it back to a 2-point game. Massive score there from a Derry perspective. Dublin are certainly going well so far, says Keane. Dublin are going very well. We've definitely started strong. And now going down the attack. Could there maybe be an opportunity here for point number 5? 2 points so far. Look, from a Dublin perspective, fairly happy. I think Derry, what they need to do at the bare minimum is just keep with Dublin here, because Dublin have started strong, and that might be another score, and it is another score. Brilliant one as well there. Brian Fenton. I think it is his first point of the game, because I'm not too sure if he got the other one. But that is a very, very good score indeed there from a Dublin perspective. 3 points between the teams then, and Derry, just need to stick with Dublin. I think that's the main thing, really. They just need to stick with Dublin. Three points between the teams. We're just going to take a quick short break and then we will be back. So yeah, 5 points to 2 so far between the sides, and yeah, Dublin have started very, very strong. It must be said, very, very strong, very, very positive performance so far. From a Dublin perspective, Test Case says Derry lots of time, lots of time. They could get a boost in the second half. It could change around. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't rule Derry out of this game so far, even if there is only 3 points between the sides. But I think I've been impressed. Dublin just very, very set up defensively, but here come Derry now trying to make an impact. That's the thing with Derry is they just seem to be rushing things ever so slightly. I feel like Dublin have played Derry at their own game here in some ways. Like we've nearly played similarly to Derry, and I think that's been actually quite sparked from a Desi Farrell perspective. But yeah, like I think if you would be a Derry supporter, you'd be disappointed enough with this game so far because, like, Derry, they just, even looking at it there, that's another very, very easy score. Like defensively, just the marking seems to be a little bit loose from a Derry perspective, and that's another point for Brian Fenton. He is having an absolute stormer of a game. That's 2 points now from him. I'm not too sure if he got that if he got that earlier one or was it Cormac Costello. I think it might have been, but that's a very, very good score from Brian Fenton. 6 points to 2, and Dublin are starting to run away with this game a bit here. Derry really need to get a grip, and that's Brian Fenton who wins the throw and fist pump into the air. Dublin are 100% up for this one. You can just see it. You can see it in the body language of the players. You can see it in the faces of the players. They look up for this one. They look bang up for it. And Derry look a little bit shell-shocked here by the looks of things. Just a little bit flat. I think like Derry are like playing very defensive as they usually are, but it's not working so far because I don't think the marking's been tight enough. They haven't moved quickly enough with Dublin. And for Dublin, shooting-wise, like they've been able to get scores off far too easily. And with a scoreline like this, I've always said like Derry are a great side to defend the lead, but I think once they start going 4 or 5 points down, the game becomes very difficult for them because it's hard to play or it's hard to be as defensive as you are when you're losing because you have to take more risks to draw the game back. And I think the Derry Galway game last year was the perfect example of that because Derry were so defensive and then they fell behind by 4 or 5 points. And they just didn't know what to do, and they sort of just panicked, and Galway ended up, steamrolling them in the end. So they're that type of team that's not used to falling too far behind, and they don't really have too much of a game plan when they do go, too far behind. And just looking at it here, like Dublin keeping the ball, playing it from side to side, keeping possession. There's no rush here for Dublin because they're 4 points in front, and there's absolutely no rush at all here. Game very, very, very much suits Dublin. Derry set up well, but no one really coming to engage with any of the Dublin players or try and make a challenge. Here they come, Dublin. Those forward runners, James McCarthy. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, he's put it wide. Got a bit too carried away there. James McCarthy, that would have been a brilliant, brilliant score with the sort of just a flick of the outside of the boot there from the looks of things. But that is what Dublin are doing, though. They're getting They're getting the likes of James McCarthy, Owen Merchant into advanced positions. The wing backs are running, into the spaces, and it is causing all sorts of havoc for Derry. And I think from a Derry perspective, they just need to be a bit more patient in attack, because I think they've rushed a few of their last attacks and lost possession or kicked it wide. They just need to be a bit more patient. And I think as long as they do that, they might give themselves a chance at getting back into this game. But so far, from a Dublin perspective, very, very happy. But here come the Derry men on the attack. Here's Conor Glass, plays it back inside. Dublin are set up very, very well. And I think that's the difference between Dublin's defence and Derry's defence so far, is that Dublin are, they're coming to meet challenges when Derry get into scoring positions, and we're getting challenges in, we're getting blocks in. Albeit, this is the second free now we've given away. Interesting enough, all of Dublin's scores so far have come from play. Whereas Derry, only 1 point from play so far. But here's a big opportunity now, big moment for Shane McGuigan. He scored the last one, and he's a fantastic kicker of a ball, as we very well know. So this is a big opportunity from a Shane McGuigan perspective, and from a Derry perspective, looks to have pulled it well wide of the target. Stays as a 4-point game. I think that's wide number 5 now for Derry. Wide number 5. So yeah, the Oakleaf County have a lot of work to do. Dublin, I think, have done well enough on their own kickouts as well so far. Derry pressing up. Seem to be pressing up, but Dublin have got the short option. Derry pressing Dublin very high up the pitch, but Dublin have been able to play their way around it. David O'Hanlon, that's a brilliant pass into Mick Fitzsimons. He plays it in to Con O'Callaghan, who goes for that diagonal ball. And Dublin do win the ball as well. It's a turn. I think it's Costello. That'll be a wonderful score if he gets it, but he does go wide of the target. But I think that little play there just probably epitomises Dublin so far. We look more up for it. We look first to every ball. And we just seem to have that bit more desire about ourselves so far, whereas Derry so far, certainly don't have that. But just looking at it there, nearly 10 minutes since Derry's last score, and Dublin are, they're doing great work on the kickouts. Is that going to be a turnover? I think the ref has given a foul. Conor Glass runs forward. Derry need to hit it quickly, and they do. Oh, and there's been a bit of a slip defensively there. Big chance for Derry, but what a brilliant save by David O'Hanlon. Wonderful save there. Absolutely brilliant. Actually, a poor effort on goal, maybe it might be said. I'm not exactly too sure who it was, but that was a huge opportunity. I don't know what happened I think it was Mick Fitzsimons, who seemed to just slip as the ball was played in. And Derry had a 1v1 with David O'Hanlon, but O'Hanlon makes the save. And let's not forget, he made some big saves versus Cork a couple of weeks ago. And that's a big save there, because you think of a goal there for Derry, the fans get up for it. It just completely swings it around, and it brings it back to a 1-point game, and it means all of Dublin's hard work has been almost for nothing. But that is a big save there from David O'Hanlon. And just a reminder that Derry pose a massive threat from goal chances. And Dublin just need to be a little bit careful there, in my opinion. When I saw 2019 Dublin's form winning All Irelands, I don't quite see the players can do it. Like 8 in a row. I think he means 6 in a row. Yeah. I mean, look, there has definitely been a drop off. I mean, a few lads have gotten older. A few lads have left the panel and have since come back to the panel now. And probably the younger players that have come in since 2019 probably haven't had as big an impact as what you'd like to see. And the underage does seem to be drying up a little bit like that. The under 20 sides that reached the All-Ireland final in 2019 and 2020, I think it was. Like, Lee Gannon is the only sort of notable player. Lorcan O'Dell as well, who's come into the side. Just looking at the Derry chance there, I think it was Benny Heron who actually ran through. It was a huge opportunity. He sort of just hit it straight at. It was actually Niall Loughlin, beg your pardon, who had that chance, and he actually put it straight at David O'Hanlon. I think he needs to put that either side of him, and I think it's a goal. I think it's still a good save by O'Hanlon, but I do think it's more so just straight at him. But yeah. Big opportunity, though. It was a big opportunity. Dublin had a chance there going down the other end, but put it a good bit wide of the target. It's been a while since Derry last scored, the 16th minute, 12 minutes without a score. Great bit of defensive work there from Tom Lahiff. But I think he's given the sideline ball to Derry. Tom Lahiff doing a great bit of work. Trying to win the ball off McCluskey. And I mean, I think that's a sideline ball to Dublin there, in my opinion. I think the ref has got that one wrong, but here we go. Chance for Derry to work something. Could McGuigan go for it? He's played it inside, and yeah, that's bread and butter stuff for Dublin. I mean, you could see the idea, but there was no movement from the Derry forward line there, and Mick Fitzsimons just gobbles that one up. And Derry's decision making is just letting them down here at the minute. Here comes Dublin now going down the other end. Good ball inside into Lorcan O'Dell, who's found himself in an advanced position. Dublin now have the ball where they want to have it, and they're keeping the ball. They're being calm, collective. Here's John Small. Back out wide to James McCarthy. Back to John Small. Derry set up well, but you get the feeling that Dublin are happy enough just to keep the ball. Tom Lahiff hits the ball quite a bit back towards the Dublin defence, and a very interesting. You can only see literally every Derry player well inside their own 45. And I think that sort of image on the screen there very much summed it up. Here come Dublin again. Owen Merchant. Could there be a chance here for a score? And it's kept in play. Kept in play. Back to John Small. Pops it over. Great score there from John Small. 5-point game now for Dublin. Derry are being cut to pieces here. Derry are being cut to pieces. Not many of us seen this coming. I think some people, including me, expected this to be the other way around, for Derry to be the ones to be 5 points in front. But here we have it. And interesting enough, all of Dublin's points so far have been from play. All of their points so far have been from play. And yeah, you just look at it. Dublin look bang up for it. Dublin look really, really well up for this, it must be said. And 5 minutes to go before half time, and Derry need something. Derry just need a point at this stage. They just need a point. Look at Dublin, who just look very fierce. You've got Dean Rock dishing out heavy challenges. Dublin just look bang up for this one, which is great to see, because we haven't really seen that all year from Dublin, to be honest with you. And I think that's over carrying there. It is over carrying. Big turnover again. Derry are just running into the trouble, and something happened there. Dublin players falling down on the floor. Something involving Shane McGuigan. And Lee Gannon. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Shane McGuigan's ran away from the from the official there. Let's have a look. Shane McGuigan with the hand to the throat there to Lee Gannon, and that's definitely a yellow card, possibly even a red there. I think Derry have hugely gotten away with one there. You could see Shane McGuigan there as well. I mean, he was running away from the referee. He was kind of like just trying to pretend he didn't know what happened there, but you could kind of tell he looked as guilty as anyone. But nothing doing. Here comes Brian Fenton. Dublin looking very, very strong, and they could go 6 points in front if they make the most of this attack. We've looked really, really up for it. Really, really up for it. And Derry have struggled. And you just look at it now and think, when you're 4 or 5 points down, Derry don't have a plan B, I don't think. I don't think they have a plan B, to be honest with you. And I think if you start fast and you build up an early lead, that it's not within their remit to turn it around or to change up their plan, because they're so used to playing this one style that suits a team that has to defend something. I think David Burns played very well so far for Dublin. I think he's had a very good game. Playing at wing back as well, which is interesting. We've usually seen him play, at sort of full back and cornerback. John Small's done well. Brian Fenton's been outstanding. You couldn't really fault the Dublin player so far. Kieran Kilkenny's maybe been a little bit quiet, but other than that, I think Dublin have looked very, very strong. McCarthy's been very good as well. Here come Dublin now on the attack. Plays it inside. Derry have every man inside their own 45, but it suits Dublin to just keep the ball, keep possession. And here come Dublin now with John Small. Could he be in maybe for a second point of the game? Gap opens up. Think that's going to be pulled a little bit wide of the target there from Darren Newcombe. Got himself into a good position on his left boot, trying to just got a bit too much curl on it. But you're seeing there like that chance open up for Dublin, and Derry are struggling here. But here come Derry. I think they've just rushed their attacks ever so slightly, and they're just kind of running themselves into the ground a little bit. But they do have the ball. They need to score, Derry. They need a point just to build a bit of confidence. 1 point from play in this game, 2 points in total. No point in nearly 20 minutes of football. And they've missed a couple of frees. They've missed chances in that time. Dublin set up well. Another free is given here towards Derry, towards Lee Gannon, giving away the foul. Dublin have been aggressive in their tackling, maybe at times a little bit too aggressive, and we have given away frees, but Derry haven't been able to capitalise so far, but we'll see if Shane McGuigan can capitalise on this one going into the second half. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here with the referee, but it's going to be a Derry free there by the looks of things. And is a Shane McGuigan. I think it's going to be Niall Toner, I think, this time around. He seems to be going for Niall Toner from this kind of angle. He needs to get a good bit of swing on it. Oh, and he drops it short. David O'Hanlon catches it. It's another opportunity that's gone a begging there from a Derry perspective. Dublin now on the counter-attack. Do they have enough time maybe to work something? Referee probably could just blow his whistle here at any moment. Think he's going to allow the Dublin attack. Can Dublin work a quick score just before the end of the half? Garrett McKinless has come on there for Derry. Ethan Doherty's gone off. He's been very quiet so far. Not too sure if there's an injury or what's going on, but that's been a change. And the referee, has he blown for half-time? He has blown for half-time. So there we have it. 2 points to 7 at half-time. Dublin, 5 points to the good. Happy days. The Dubs are back. Well, not, obviously not. Just joking. But 5 points to the good at the minute. And look, that performance was really, really good from Dublin. We have to call it how it is. It's been a very, very good performance, very strong performance. The game is definitely not done. There's still a big second half to go. And I don't know, was there a breeze favour in Dublin there? Could that have something to do with Derry's lacklustre shooting? I'm not entirely sure, but I think Dublin have been very, very strong. They've been the aggressors. They've been on the front foot. And we look really, really up for it. Like a few times, Brian Fenton wins a kick out, wins a foul. Fist, jumps up and in kind of delight. You've seen Lee Gannon do it at one stage as well. Like Dublin look really, really up for this, and you just wonder, has some of the comments that's been made about Dublin in the last couple of weeks, even from myself as well, although I'm pretty sure they don't see what I say, but from what the likes of Sean Kavanagh have said, and what the general public, what they've been saying about Dublin has maybe annoyed them a little bit, because Dublin look like they've a chip on their shoulder, and they've started very, very strong, and Derry just haven't been able to keep up with them. They just haven't been able to keep up with us at all. And Derry have got themselves, Derry have probably created the same amount of chances as Dublin, but their shooting has really, really let them down. And weather conditions has something to do with that, or whether there's a breeze, I don't really know. But their shooting has let them down. They've missed a couple of frees, dropped a few short. 1 point from play, 1 point from play in that first half. And that's a little bit surprising from a Derry perspective. Obviously, you think of that chance that Noah Loughlin had. That was a big, big save by David O'Hanlon. If that goes in, it's a completely different game. It's a 1 point game then going into the final 5 or 6 minutes of the first half, and the fans would have got up for it. It would have completely changed the momentum of the game. But yeah, very, very impressive stuff from a Dublin perspective. But it is one half of football, and there has been a common trend with Dublin at times to switch off and get lackadaisy, and that has been a thing under Dessie Farrell in the last couple of years. So we'll see how this second half goes. We need to keep at it. As long as we keep playing the way we're playing, I think we should come out of this with a win. But I am expecting a much better Derry performance in the second half. I think they're going to really, Rory Gallagher will be laying into those men as we speak right now. He won't be happy at all with how that game has gone so far. They've been, they're just making a few wrong decisions, and carrying the ball into the tackle and poor areas of the pitch, and just the decision making hasn't been there so far from a Derry perspective. Gavin says last year in the Hyde against Roscommon, Derry seemed out of it, but they came back into it and it was a draw. So you never know, but not great at the moment. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't rule Derry out of making a turnaround in the second half. They have the players to do so. Make no question about that. But you do look at Derry and think, like, just watching them there, like they don't have a plan B, and I think that might be something that holds them back further down the line. Like I've no problem with teams playing defensive football, but I think when it isn't working in a game, you do need to make a change. And I don't know if Derry have another game plan. Like there was times in that game where Dublin they were happy to allow Dublin to keep possession, inside their own 45, and they were just sitting back, allowing Dublin to have the ball. I know you don't want to risk too much too soon, because you don't want to, start playing expansive football and then all of a sudden, Dublin are creating goal chances and run away with the game. But you just wonder, like, Derry just needs to add something a bit more to their game if they want to, compete for All Irelands, in my opinion. I think it works well if you start fast, you get an early goal, you have a lead and you have something to defend. But I think when you fall 4 or 5 points down, I don't like it. It's hard for that style to be successful in the end, because the opposition team will just keep the ball, wait for their openings. And the Galway Derry game last year was the perfect example, in my opinion. Jack says Dubs 6 in a row is hard to do. Nobody's saying any team will do. Or do you mean Dubs won't do it again? Yeah, I don't know. We certainly won't go as far as Dublin going for 6 in a row. I think the most important thing is just get this win, get the promotion wrapped up, and then Dublin can start looking ahead to the championship. Really, but very, very good performance. Very happy with the performance so far, and I think Dublin have been ruthless. Like, all 7 points have been from play as well. All 7 points have been from play. It's been outstanding. Dubs looking good, but Lower Derry shooting is cat. It is. Derry's shooting has been very, very poor. Very, very poor indeed. I think it's been a very, very lackluster performance. What we'll do at halftime is have a look at what the world of social media is saying. We usually do this on our watch alongs, just have a look at what our friends and family are saying on DL Twitter, Elon Musk's lovely platform. So let's have a look. John McMahon, who we've seen on this show plenty of times, has said that's the Dublin we all know and are jealous of. Yeah, I mean that is vintage Dublin right there. Vintage Dublin. But we'll see if it continues. Another good friend of the channel, GA Statsman, with some stats on the game there at halftime. You lads can definitely see this, can't you? Yeah, he's definitely can there, just making sure. So just looking at it there, Derry, as you can see, look at that shooting accuracy. 2 out of 9 shots, they've scored 2. 22% accuracy. 22% accuracy. I mean, that is abysmal shooting. I mean, yeah, like I don't know if what Kildare brought to the table last year has become contagious or something, because that is very, very poor indeed. And looking at it from play, just 1 shot scored from 5 from play. It's been very, very poor. And actually looking at it from Dublin's point of view, they were highlighting Dublin's efficiency in front of goal on the Sunday game. But actually, when you look at it, we've actually only scored 53%. 7 of our 13 shots, all of which have been from play. So, you could actually argue the case that Dublin maybe have, their shooting's been a little bit slow, a little bit poor at times as well. But far better than what Derry have brought to the table. And as you see there, 6 turnovers, 1 from a Dublin perspective so far. We've been very good in that. We have conceded a lot of frees so far in the first half, and we gave away a couple of chances that Derry missed 3 chances from place balls that they could have scored, and it could have been a 2-point game at halftime. But thankfully enough, from our perspective, Derry's shooting has been very, very poor. But yeah, that's kind of the standard in the first half. Just looking at some scores, then we'll have a look at it here. Paul Cassidy and Shane McGuigan, the only 2 scores for Derry, 1 point from play. And looking at it for Dublin, Cormac Costello, Brian Fenton was 2. Brian Fenton's been absolutely sensational in that first half. What a performance from him! Absolutely top drawer stuff from Brian Fenton. Cormac Costello, 2 points. Been in the right place at the right time on a couple of occasions. Lee Gallen's been very good. Conor Callan's actually been fairly quiet at times, but still got himself a point. John Small with a point as well. And as you can see there, James McCarthy with 3 wides in the game so far. He's got himself into good positions, but just hasn't quite found the shooting. Kieran Kilkenny and Darren Newcombe with the wides there as well. Very, very positive performance there from a Dublin perspective. We'll put Dublin into the Twitter search bar here to see if we can see what people are saying about the good old Dubs. Let's see what people are saying in response to this tweet. Drew Walsh says, smooth hair of football. Scumbags booing free kicks. Yeah, I'm obviously not listening to it with commentary, but yeah, that's obviously not great to see, but it is something that happens. It's something that happens. And look, we're not going to get on our high horse. Dublin fans boo plenty of teams at Croke Park down the years when they have the ball. So we won't get on our high horse there, but it's definitely something that you don't like to see, in my opinion. Lee Costello says Dublin have been so used to teams sitting deep against them over the years. There's probably no better drill side to overcome this type of football. Time to find out if this Derry team have a plan B. It's actually a very, very good tweet right there from Lee, because do you know what it is? Dublin, it's so true. Dublin are so used to teams playing that way. They're so used to playing teams who are defensive. Because that's what usually happens in Leinster. Teams just sit back, and look, Derry are clearly very strong side defensively, but it's something that Dublin are very, very used to. And what Clare did was they went at Dublin, they went after them, they got in their faces, and they kept, it mightn't have worked the first time, but they kept trying. And they pushed men up, they engaged, they went toe to toe with Dublin and nearly beat us. Cork did the same, and could have scored 3 or 4 goals. You'd look at it and think Derry need to get after Dublin, press up on kickouts, engage in the tackle. I understand having a lot of men behind the ball, but push players up. Push players up a little bit. Push your forwards up the pitch, and so they're there when the counter attack, when you win the ball. There's players there like that. That's what I'd be saying from from a Derry perspective. But yeah, very, very good performance so far from a Dublin perspective. And yeah, very, very happy, I have to say, with how that has gone. Definitely been our best performance of the league so far. We see what the public are saying about Derry. Marty Morrissey says Celtic Park here in Derry. As you can see, lovely ground. Yvonne McKenna, she says Dublin's golden generation are finished. They are an okay team that won't win much more. Derry are serious contenders. 5:30. Dublin are the best team in the country, and Derry are decent, not great. I enjoy when Winter GA takes our force back to reality in a few minutes. Yeah, I definitely. I know I said Dublin were back there a little bit earlier. I was obviously joking. Do not take that 100 with as a 100% serious statement. But yeah, look, Dublin are not back. You know, it's one half of football, and you know we've seen Dublin. You think back to 2021 in the All Ireland semi-final. Dublin were brilliant against Mayo in that first half, and then in the second half we just completely fell off the rails. And you know, Mayo eventually got back into the game. It's happened. You know, Dublin have you know, Limerick were brilliant in the first half. Second half we fell off the brakes a little bit. But yeah, GA Edit says Dublin 7 points, Derry 2 points. Dublin matching Derry tactically, and it's working well for them. Derry's last score was in the 16th minute by Shane McGuigan free. Yeah, like it's been it's just not quite been there from a Derry perspective. Fintan O'Toole says Derry's free taking malfunctioning badly. Few bad misses from favourable positions. Dublin excellent in that first half, attacking with a lot of intent. Yeah, like it's been interesting. Like they've kind of switched between Shane McGuigan and Niall Toner. It seems to be that Shane McGuigan is taking the frees. Sort of, obviously he's kicking it from on his left, whereas Niall Toner is kicking it on his right. So, you know, Niall Toner has been kicking it from the left-hand side of the pitch, Shane McGuigan from the right-hand side of the pitch, if that makes sense, of the goal that Derry attacked in the first half. But neither of which has really worked. Like Shane McGuigan kicked one, but again, it was a very, very favourable one, probably the easiest of the lot. So yeah, it just hasn't quite been there from a Derry perspective. Paddy Andrews says teams mirroring each other's styles, but Dubs have been prepared to play against this system for the last 8 years, and it's shown more efficient and more control. Big players standing up. Best performance of league today. Big ask for Derry to pull this back. Absolutely. It's definitely been the best performance of the league so far from Dublin. And yeah, you know, we are very well set up, you know, I remember when we played Tyrone in the league last year, and Tyrone did sort of something similar, and it was just, you know, we beat them when we were in terrible form in their own backyard, you know. So it does suit Dublin to be as defensive as what they are, because that's how, you know, teams play against Dublin down the years. But yeah, we'll stop this now anyway, and we'll have a look at some of your lads' comments there, because there's definitely plenty coming in there. I said at the beginning of the stream that Dublin can rip teams to shreds, and they seem to be doing it. Yeah, and look, we haven't seen Dublin do it all year, to be fair. Like obviously they did it against Limerick, and you know, but Limerick are, you know, not going to be competing for, you know, they're not going to be in the All Ireland series, you know. But yeah, I'd reckon Dublin 13, Derry 10. Yeah, it's a fair score. You would expect a kick from Derry in the second half. You would expect, you know, definitely expect a turnaround. But yeah, Dublin aren't the best team in my opinion. I think it's Mayo. Yeah, I'd still have Kerry as the number one in the country. Like, I don't think, you know, one or two games should, you know, completely change our opinion. But Mayo are looking very strong, and certainly on form so far this year. They have been the best team in the country. But, you know, when it gets to the All Ireland series, when it gets to the semi-finals and finals, that's when we'll really know where Dublin are at. But yeah, second half just about to get going. I'll let you just have a look at Rory Gallagher there just for a brief moment, as I will be back in a minute. But yeah, here we go. Second half about to get going now in the next couple of minutes. Both teams back onto the pitch. Be interesting to see if there is any changes from either side. But yeah, Sky Glass, I reckon Derry might get even more arse kicking by Dublin in the second half. They could do. I mean, if Dublin haven't had any goal chances so far, but a goal for Dublin would put the nail in the coffin, I think, and it would be game over. But look, it's a big start to the second half for Derry. They need to get after Dublin. They need to get in their faces, and hopefully for ourselves, from a Dublin perspective, we're able to stay on top. But here we go. The ball's been thrown in. And Derry do win the throw-in. Few challenges going in. Straight away, Benny Heron hits the deck. Looking for the pass. Plays it back to Conor Glass. Derry need a score at the start of the second half just to, sort of stem the momentum. But we shall see what happens. Here they come now on the attack. I mean, it is worth pointing out as well that it is a 5-point game. Only a 5-point game, I know Derry have only kicked 2 points so far, but it is only 5 points, and a goal could completely change the complexion of a game. A couple of good scores could change the complexion. Derry have kicked it inside there, but they've dropped it short, and David O'Hanlon has gathered that one with absolute ease. Here comes Owen Merchant, plays it back. Derry definitely pushing up a little bit further there, but Dublin now kicking it back out wide there to Mick Fitzsimons. He plays it inside into Lee Gannon, who's venturing forward. Dublin obviously attacking the end where their supporters are, the travelling Hill 16 support. And Derry have been absolutely cut open. Could have been a chance for a goal. Dublin take the point though. Good score there from Tom Lahiff. And Dublin go 6 points to the good. Big chance for a goal though. Tom Lahiff, he could have went for it. He did have a man sort of a little bit behind them, probably breathing on his back there. So probably the right decision in the end. Probably the right decision. 6 points the game. Dublin to keep their foot on the throttle and get a much needed win, says Keane. Yeah, it's been strong start, 6 points. And let's not forget, Derry have not scored since the 16th minute. But here they go on the attack now. That should be a score. And it is a score. So Derry do get a point. And that is a good score indeed there from a Derry perspective. And they bring it back down to a 5-point game. Derry's only their second point from play. It was Ethan Doherty who got the score from the looks of things there. So back to a 5-point game. And we are now at the score of 3 points to 8 in favour of Dublin. Interestingly enough as well, that was Derry's first point from play since the 4th minute. So that goes to put into perspective just how disappointing it's been if you're a Derry fan watching this. But here come Dublin now with Tom Lahiff. Plays it back. Derry are pushing up a bit more in the second half. I think that, they realise they have to engage a little bit more and they have to push up a bit more and not allow it to be as easy for Dublin. Because in that first half, it was well too easy. But we'll see what happens. Derry set up well, but Dublin waiting for the opening. And here is Mick Fitzsimons goes out over the sideline. That will definitely give the Derry fans a bit of a lift there. Just seeing Dublin be a little bit sloppy in possession. Mick Fitzsimons kicks it out over the sideline. Big moment of possession here for Derry because they need to, try and bring the score down as much as possible, and then, we'll see what happens going into the final few minutes. Mead man says Derry only 2 points in the entire first half is crazy considering how they blitz Mead and other teams early on. I think they've just, they've panicked when they've attacked. They've ran into trouble, and they've even with Shane McGuigan there now nearly running into trouble. And their decision making has been quite poor, and their shooting has been quite poor, very poor as a matter of fact. And I think that's been something that's let them down. And I think they've probably been surprised by Dublin's intensity, considering Dublin haven't brought that at all year. So yeah, but here's Derry, good bit of play, bit of a shoulder into the back. Referee's given a foul. Has he given a foul? He has given a foul. Did look like a foul, in fairness, on Chrissy McCaig. Will you be doing content on Meath versus Dublin and Navan? Possibly. We'll see. We will see. Obviously, that game is not next weekend, but it's on, I think it's the day after Paddy's Day, isn't it? So we'll see. We'll see kind of leading up to the week what we'll do. Should probably get someone to read the comments while the match is on. Make things easier. It would make things easier, but I am a one-man show, unfortunately. So, but who knows? Maybe at some point we may get some more people to do that kind of stuff. But there's a point for Shane McGuigan. So it's 4 points now between the sides. Shane McGuigan from the free. So Derry have equaled their entire tally from the first half in the opening 5 minutes. And just looking at it there, the Derry goalkeeper, Oren Lynch, almost playing as a midfielder. And I'm not too sure how far out of position he is, but you can see Kieran Kilkenny shouting for the ball, but it looks like Dublin are just going to keep possession. Dublin there, just a little bit poor, a bit of a poor decision making there. Like, you've seen Kieran Kilkenny up free on the left-hand side of the pitch. All Brian Fenton had to do was pick him out. Dublin run themselves into trouble, and Derry now have a bit of momentum, as you would expect. Look, they were always going to have a purple patch in this game. They're too good of a team, in my opinion, not to have a purple patch. But here we go. McAvoy on the ball, plays it back into Chrissy McCaig. I think the second half will tell us as well, like, where Dublin are at. Can Dublin resist, the Derry push that's likely to happen here? But that's a great interception from John Small. That's brilliant from Dublin. We need to work the ball quickly and take advantage of these scenarios when Derry have too many men further up the pitch, and Kieran Kilkenny works it inside. Chance opens up here for Dublin. It's a difficult one. I think it's not even gone wide. Not even gone wide there. Oren Lynch keeps it in play. Not too sure who it was who had the effort there, but it was a good bit off target, in fairness. But here we go. 4 points between the sides. Derry need the next point, and when it's a one-score game, anything can happen. But here comes Noel Scully coming on, which is good to see. I think he's the right man to bring on. He's the right player to bring on, in my opinion. I think this kind of game suits him. But here we go. Derry now on the attack. Dublin set up well. Dublin aggressive, though, on the tackle, and that's a brilliant bit of work defensively. Brilliant work. Look at Conor O'Callaghan playing almost as a cornerback there, and Dublin are keeping that intensity, and hard tackling, hard challenges. It's a difficult game for Derry to keep up with. But here we go. Brian Fenton, or Tom Lahiff rather, plays it outside. Lee Gannon, he's played very well so far. Been very impressive for Dublin. Lee Gannon, brilliant point. Excellent score there from Lee Gannon. Dublin back into a 5-point advantage. His second point of the game. Probably been the man of the match so far, you would say, alongside Brian Fenton. And very, very good performance. Dublin sometimes crack like which can lead to disastrous consequences, like Kerry v Dublin back in last year's league. Yeah, definitely. We when we've been put under the caution, put under pressure, we've been, we probably have been, but especially in the league last year and losing our opening 4 matches in the league. You think of Armagh as well, Kildare, for example, in the league, but so far in this game, we seem to be keeping that intensity. keeping that same rhythm. We're matching Derry, for scores in the second half. 2 points apiece in the second half, so we're keeping with them in terms of the push that they're trying to bring. And you've seen Con O'Callaghan get a big challenge in there. Like, that was a huge tackle there, from a Dublin perspective. But yeah, here come Derry now going down the other end. And Dublin maybe could open a little bit here. Could be a chance for a goal. Oh, it's in the net. It's in the net. It's a goal for Derry. Oh, lovely. Lovely goal. Well, not a lovely goal at all, actually. It's a very scrappy goal, but that brings Derry back into the game. I think Niall Toner in the end is the one who got the final touch. Dublin's defence vulnerable. Mick Fitzsimons, not for the first time, slips. It bobbles around like a pinball, and it eventually finds its way to Niall Toner. It was Niall Loughlin on the ball originally. Runs through, kind of falls, but he hasn't passed the ball though necessarily. It looked like he kind of dropped it, and then it was kicked into the net. I'm not too sure about that. Should that goal have stood? I don't really know, but there we go. Back to 2 points. Derry are firmly back in it. Dublin, no need to panic. No need to panic. Just need to stay in the game and keep doing what we're doing. But that is a worry there from a Dublin perspective, because it's another goal conceded. And when you look at it in the league so far this year, Dublin have conceded 4 goals, 5 goals now in 5 matches, and that is not particularly brilliant. Derry trying to capitalise on the momentum. Con O'Callaghan running there. A challenge comes in from Brendan Rodgers. Dublin win the foul. Just need to slow the game down a little bit now, Dublin. Just need to slow the game down a little bit. But yeah. 1-4 to 9 points in favour of Dublin. Dublin 2 points to the good. Long way to go. Still about 20 odd minutes plus injury time. Brendan Rodgers and James McCarthy just exchanging words there. Talking about maybe some places to go out later in Derry. It's a good old town, Derry. I was there during COVID, and it was a good night out, in fairness. You can sense the atmosphere building. It's going to be edge of the seat football from now on. Yeah. That goal was needed for Derry, just to get the fans involved and sort of put Dublin on the back foot, because although Dublin were brilliant in the first half, we have been vulnerable a lot of the time in the last sort of 2 years under Dessie Farrell. So, as someone said earlier, Skyglass, I think, said about Dublin cracking like an egg, and sometimes we can, sometimes we do have that in us. So Derry will sense that there's something there, but Dublin in possession now, they're sort of slowing the game down. Davy Byrne plays it back into Brian Fenton, who's had a very good game. He plays it inside into Tom Lahiff. Tom Lahiff back to Kieran Kilkenny. Derry set up very well, but this does suit Dublin, and Derry have retracted a little bit further once again since they've got that goal. They're chasing players now. Like, you see Conor Glass, they're chasing players. They're getting after Dublin players. It's not as easy for Dublin to score now in the second half as it was in the first half. Here's Brian Fenton, plays it back to Kieran Kilkenny, who's basically played as an extra man in midfield at times in this game. Now James McCarthy back to Fenton. Dublin really do need the next score. They need the next score just to, I suppose, stem the tide that Derry have brought with that goal. Here's Mick Fitzsimons, plays it back. Chance opens up, and wide. It looked like it might have been over the bar. I think it was Owen Merchant. Lee Gannon, actually, as a matter of fact. And big opportunity there for Lee Gannon on his right boot. tricky angle, but he was popping them over earlier, and it's a disappointing wide there from Dublin. So 2 points between the sides. 20 minutes to go. 20 minutes to go. Benny Heron exits the field. Derry making a change. Not too sure for who at this moment in time, but we will see. Just looking at it there, Dublin have had more wides than Derry, interestingly enough, in this game, according to RTE. And that probably is the case because we've had a few wides in this second half, and Derry have actually more so dropped chances short rather than actually put chances wide as such. But Derry on the attack. Dublin just look a little bit flustered now. As they go on the attack, that chance breaks down as he picked the ball up off the ground. It looked like he did, but Dublin get the turnover with Brian Fenton. Dublin are still getting turnovers, and they're still getting, those challenges in there. And here come Dublin now on the counter-attack. Plays it into Lee Gannon, who's been excellent so far. Now into Owen Merchant. And he goes over the sort of a true ball there, but I think it's a 45 in the end. I think it's come off McAvoy. So this will actually be, I don't even think we've scored a point from a free in this game, which has been bizarre. But yeah, just looking at it there, yeah, it did come off the Derry fullback. McCluskey, actually, it was. Owen Merchant there. Comes off McCluskey. Yeah, clearly hits off him. Or does it hit off Costello? I don't know. You've seen Costello's reaction there. But maybe that was more so got to do with the pass not going to him. But here's a chance anyway for Dean Rock. Big moment here. Dublin haven't scored. Just looking at it here. On Scorpio. Haven't scored since the 43rd minute. So probably our longest period in the game without scoring. So this is a big one now for Dean Rock. He needs to pop this one over to bring it back to a 3-point game. Or bring it to a 3-point game. And we have that bit of a cushion there, I suppose. But here he goes. Dean Rock does seem to be maybe a bit of a breeze there. Stropping. Hit wide in the end from... well, it dropped short and then it was punched wide by Oren Lynch. So it's going to be another 45 here. Definitely a lot of swerve on the ball. Definitely a lot of wind sort of blowing in towards the goal there. And drop short. Did it go wide before? No, it didn't. It didn't go wide before. So it's another chance for Dean Rock here. Another chance for Dean Rock. I think it may have been going wide anyway by the looks of things, but I suppose Oren Lynch wasn't to know. So Dean Rock will have his second chance. I suppose no better man from these positions in tough conditions and pressurizing moments. There's no better man, but let's see if he can nail it. It looks like it's dropped short again. Just not quite the distance. And Dublin's shooting has been poor in the second half, and it's definitely a team towards that goal. The shooting's been poor, so stays as 2 points. Dublin are showing signs of a possible bottle. Yeah, possibly. We'll see what happens here, though. We are still getting turnovers, though, and we're still doing well defensively. Like, you look at it, there I've only scored 4 points, which, is quite, is a low number. Like, and their goal was more of a scrappy goal than anything. But there's point number 5 for Derry, and that's actually a very, very good score there from the wing back to a 1-point game. And you're looking at it now, that's a 4 or 5 point swing in the last 10 minutes. Very, very good score there from the wing back. Derry move it back into it was Doherty with the score, Conor Doherty. Very good score. Colin Basquel coming on. Don't particularly rate Colin Basquel, to be honest, but he's on the pitch anyway. We'll see if he can do that. And here's Lee Gannon on the ball. Back into Kieran Kilkenny. 10 minutes now without a score for Dublin. But that's a good ball over the top for Cormac Costello. Just bounced away from him a little bit. Costello then goes for goal. Derry get the challenges in. They win the ball. They're trying to get a free. Trying to call a free. They do get one free out. Yeah, it was just that it was a good ball. I think it was Con O'Callaghan there into Costello, just bounced away from him. You wonder, could he just kept on to possession, tried to work a chance for a point? Doesn't quite happen. And yeah, there we go. There we go. 1 point game. Derry in possession. Game on now. The Dubs are getting very sloppy. We are. And see, that was the thing I was saying at half time, is that it has been a trend under Dessie Farrell since the All-Ireland win in 2020, where in the second half we've got sloppy in a lot of games. That's going to drift wide anyway, so Dublin will have the ball back. Derry, one of the substitutes there, I think maybe claiming there was a foul or something that went on there, but number 26, we'll see who that is now. Just having a look here now. Oh, Derry have won the kick out. I'm not too sure what happened. I looked away, but Derry in possession, and that is it's over the bar, and Derry have levelled it, and that's another point. Dublin are collapsing. Point from Cassidy, 1-6 to 9 points. For God's sake, Dublin, like we could have, we knew Derry were going to come after us and be stronger. Like, we're just making silly decisions now. We're making silly decisions. But it's still level. But you'd have to say the momentum is completely switched, and it's in favour of Derry. Dublin have kicked just 2 points in the second half. That's a good ball. We keep going for that backdoor cut, but James McCarthy, the ball was taken away from him there by Colin Basquel. Have Dublin won a foul? They haven't. Plays it back into Kieran Kilkenny. It's game on, and it's edge of the seat stuff now. Edge of the seat stuff. The game results probably doesn't matter too much in terms of, I think both sides are getting promoted anyway, but psychologically the result means huge, and for Derry to get a win over Dublin would be a big statement, and especially considering how poor they were in the first half and how good Dublin were in the first half. But yeah, Dublin just haven't quite been at it. But here goes Kieran Kilkenny, just about squeezes it over the bar. Good point there from Kieran Kilkenny. Looked as if for a moment there that maybe he dropped it short, but he squeezes it over, just about puts it over, and it is back to a Dublin lead by a point. Dublin back in front. Dean Rock has gone off. Interesting. 13 minutes. Who's coming on? I've seen Sean Lowry come on. Is he the man? I suppose Dean Rock, he is getting on a bit, so he probably doesn't have the legs, but Derry ran out over the sideline. That's a good bit of work there from Dublin on the kick out. You can see young Paul Cassidy looking at the ref, thinking, was he pushed? Dublin will have to show a bit of bottle, show a bit of metal. Here's John Small. Challenges going in left, right, and centre. It's a very frantic, physical battle, tussle. Challenges flying in left, right, and centre now. Dublin need a goal. Possibly might need a goal, but we'll see. For now, we're still in front. But it is a Derry attack with Cassidy. And 12 minutes to go. Dublin just need to keep the grips on defensively. I do see a few Dublin legs tiring. I do see a few Dublin players tiring. And Derry look as if they have the legs and they have another score. That's a good one there. It's a very good one. And the Derry bench, their substitutes actually have made a big difference in this game. And 1-7 to 10 points, back level for the second time in the game. And moving into the final 12 minutes, you would look at it and think Dublin could be in trouble. And they win the resulting kick out. This has been the Dublin we have seen, unfortunately, of the last couple of years. Big hits going in. Outside of the boo, it's a speculative one, and it's well wide of the target there from Conor Doherty. I think he's seen his name in the headlines there. Just looking at it there, Oisin McWilliams, the substitute, was the man who scored that point. So Derry have found a couple of options from the bench, and they've found a good Couple of players, a yellow card being dished out here from Mick Fitzsimons. Both sides level. Both sides level going into the final 10 minutes. To be fair, I think... Oh, I was about to say that probably should have been a free for Derry, but I think he has given a foul, hasn't he? For that challenge from Mick Fitzsimons. But then again, like he did, well, the advantage was played. The advantage was played, and Doherty hit the opportunity wide. So, you know, that's what the whole advantage rule is for. But the ref is going to call it back for a free. And Shane McGuigan's not going to go for it. I suppose it is a good bit out. It is a good bit out. So, Derry played short into possession. Shane McGuigan back to Conor Glass or Brendan Rodgers, I think it is. Derry are in a good position here. It's another heavy challenge that's gone in there. Has the referee done that? And I think he's given a... I don't know what the referee's done. He hasn't made any decision here. It did look like a bit of a heavy challenge, in fairness. Yeah, like it is a foul. John Small on Paul Cassidy. Yeah. I mean, Cassidy, he hits the floor very fast there, in fairness, but it was a heavy tackle. I think that's more just the physicality that John Small has brought to the table. But yeah, here's a chance for Derry to go in front, and who would have seen that coming at half time? 1-7 to 10 points. And Rory Gallagher spitting all over the place on his hands there. He's nervous. He's frantic watching on, and you know he's going to need he's going to have no spit left by the time the full-time whistle blows here by the looks of things. Desi Farrell, the complete opposite, just watching on, calm, collected, his usual face that never really, his expressions very rarely change, in fairness. But here we go. Is McGuigan going to go for this, or he's going to play it short again? He's going to play it short. Wow, he's not going to go for it. I thought he would have went for that. That was definitely within his range. I suppose they did miss a few in the first half, so maybe they're sort of looking at it and thinking, let's not shoot from ridiculous angles, but they've literally just done that in the end with one of the players who came on there, one of the late changes, number 26, puts it well wide of the target there. I think it was Garrett McKinless, maybe. It was Garrett McKinless, yeah. But yeah, here we go. Dublin now on the attack. Late tuning in. Hello, everyone. Good to have you on board. As Dublin now go down the other end, and that is a brilliant score there. Brilliant point from Colm Basquel. You know, I'm not always convinced by Colm Basquel, to be honest, especially in a Dublin jersey, but that is, you know, that's what he brings to the table. Explosiveness, quick, you know, runs in between the space, pops it over the bar. Great score there from Colm Basquel, and Dublin are back in front by a point. A common trend for Dublin so far in the league this year is we've got out of jail. We've got out of jail in our first 4 matches in the league, and you know, 3 of them we won by the smallest of margins. To be fair, you would look at the whole balance of this game and say Dublin were excellent in the first half, a little bit sloppy at times in the second half, but I think if we do go on to win this game, I think we will deserve to win it. But let's see how the final 7 minutes go. Great challenge there from Noel Scully. Great turnover, plays it into Costello. Now Brian Fenton. And Dublin are into a good position here for an attack. Just need to be patient. Con O'Callaghan running into the challenges. Maybe one have won a foul. Dublin continue on. Might be a chance for a goal. Oh, he could have easily played it in. What are you doing, man? You could have easily played it into Cormac Costello there. Kieran Kilkenny, look at that. Cormac Costello at the back post. Could have just hand-passed it in. You know, volleyball style. Would have been a vintage Dublin goal. But Kieran Kilkenny puts it over the bar. Still a score, still a point. Still something. Looks like a good crowd from Dublin at the game. Yeah, there definitely is. There's a lot of Dublin fans at the game. You know, whole stand of fans really. You know, sort of at that end. So it's great to see. 2 big points there from Dublin, Kilkenny definitely could have set up Costello for a goal, and that would have been game over. But Kilkenny took the point, his second of the game. It was a 2-point game, and we're moving into the final 6 minutes now. So, plays it inside. Looked like Derry were playing with 4 and maybe lost the ball, but they do still have it. Doherty, it's a risky ball. Plays it right into the dirt. Dublin. Oh, he's given the foul. He's given another foul. But is McGuigan going to actually take it this time? Con O'Callaghan this time with the challenge. Yeah, it's actually an old Scully with the challenge. And he probably does bring him down, but I don't know. Like, I feel like there's some of the Derry players that they're hitting the deck too easily, in my opinion. I know Dublin are, they're a strong physical team and everything else, but it seems like they're hitting the deck a little bit too easily for me. But here's Shane McGuigan. If he doesn't hit this over, we may as well pack it in. But yeah, he has put it over. Back to a 1-point game. It's going to be a frantic finish. 1 point between the two sides. But here we go. 1-8 to 12 points. Aaron likes drinking out of his Hop House 13 or Hop House 13. Yeah, I've a sore throat, unfortunately. So I'm a little bit parched in terms of water. That can be the only problem doing these watch-alongs. You're speaking a lot of the time, so you kind of need a good bit of water. But yeah, we're nearly over now. Anyway, in fairness, we've 4 minutes to go, and then we have injury time. But Derry have won the kick out. Ryan Howard has come on. He has come on. So let's see what happens here. Derry could level it up. A draw would be an interesting result. I think if you're a Cork or a Louth fan, I mean, I don't think either of those sides are going to get promoted, but it would certainly be the worst result for either one of them. Shane McGuigan plays it inside. This might be a chance here for Derry. It's another heavy challenge that's come in, this time from Michael Fitzsimons. And I don't know about this one now. Let's have a look. McGuigan plays it in. Yeah, probably is a foul. Just looking at it there. Yeah, probably is a foul. Probably is, in fairness. So here we go. McGuigan standing over it. You would expect him to score, and he does. It's a bread and butter stuff there. And we're back level going into the final few minutes. Dublin kickouts are playing into Derry hands. Yeah, we're playing it we played it short this time, but we're taking a few risks. But we do win the ball, and we need to be patient with the ball here and keep it, I think, just for a minute or two and just really wait for that opening. A bit like the Dublin have done down the years, but that's poor. And Colin Basquel, I think, is thrown out over the sideline. I think the referee has called a sideline ball. And Derry, who, let's not forget, have not led in this game once at all. They haven't led at all once in this game. Marty Morrissey says he's surprised that was a foul. Yeah, but he did kind of have his hand on the. I can feel like like some of the Derry players are just hitting the deck very easily, so it looks worse than it is. I think they could have easily stayed on their feet a lot of the time, but it's one of those things that a lot of them do get given. So, but here we go, and Derry have scored. They've put it over the bar, and the substitutes have made a big difference. I think is it McWilliams, I think, who's put that one over. 110 to 12 points. Derry lead for the first time in the game. And it's as we approach injury time, and it looks as if Dublin have completely thrown this one away. 5 points to the good at half-time. Unfortunately, the Dublin of old that we've seen in the first half did not persist to continue in the second half. We'll see if we can come out of it. But unfortunately, in the second half, we've seen more of the same sort of Dublin that we've seen from last year and this year. But here we go. Mick Fitzsimons. And look, a draw, I wouldn't have. I clearly would not have took a draw at half time, but a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world. Keeps us unbeaten, keeps us, keeps us, joint top of the league, shall we say, and gives us a cushion over Cork and Louth. Obviously, we have that cushion over Cork in terms of head-to-head, but here we go. Dublin keeping possession, and this is obviously now where Derry can, get every man behind the ball and play is, proper blanket defensive style stuff. But here we go. Con Basquel, who has made an impact since coming on. Brian Fenton, Con O'Callaghan, back to Basquel. Ooh, he played with four there, but Basquel's done very well. He's still going, Basquel. And Derry look to have the ball. Do they have the ball? It's in there. I don't know what the ref. He's probably going to give it. He's probably just going to throw it in here. I think. Probably just going to throw it in. Dublin defence very leaky and too many fouls. Yeah, the same old problems that have been there all year. Like that, 5 goals conceded in our last 4 games now. Since the Kildare game, and the goal in the end is what looks to have won it. Looks to have won it, unfortunately. So yeah, Dublin are bottling it. I think we have thrown this away. We definitely have thrown this away. But the ref has called something here. The Derry fans are not happy at all. Conor Glass has hit the deck. I think the ref has called it free for Dublin here. Let's have a look. And is he giving that? Is he giving that to Dublin? No way. He's giving that to Dublin. Wow. That is one of the worst refereeing decisions I think I've seen in terms of a foul. That is definitely not a... Glass is in front of... I think it was John Small maybe, but I don't think Glass knew he was there. So I think we've got quite lucky there. Well, here goes Costello. You'd expect him to put it over. And he does put it over, does he? He definitely has put it over, 100%. Puts it over the bar, back level. Let's see what happens now. Big kick out. Dublin got out of jail there. That was not free. Not a foul in my opinion. If anything, it should have been a free out. So mad decision there. But let's see what happens from this kick out. A draw. I think both sides would probably take a draw, stay unbeaten, step closer to promotion. But obviously, you want to win. You always want to win at all costs. So let's see what happens from this throw in. Big ball goes in. It's one from Derry, is it? And then it's Conor Glass who wins it, plays it back. Derry are probably just going to keep possession now for this final minute or two. McAvoy running into the space. Derry or Brendan Rodgers. Big opportunity. Is McGuigan gone for it? He's put it wide. He's put that wide. That's a poor effort from McGuigan there. I mean, we've seen him score then, but I think he just needed to wait a little bit more. Big kick out. Is Dave O'Hanlon going to go short? He is. He goes out wide. Dublin might just sneak away with this one and possibly might sneak a win. Here's Fitzsimons back into Kilkenny. How many times down the years have we seen Dublin sneak results, and that's been the case in the league so far this year. We've got very lucky in that final point. I think we got lucky with from Costello. But let's see what happens. About 40 seconds to go. Dublin are just waiting for that opportunity. Brian Howard who's come on. All right, lads, come on now. Let's try go for this here now. We're just keeping the ball. We're not really doing anything. There's a few challenges going in there. Playing into a dangerous area to pitch. Owen Merchant nearly loses it. Do Dublin still have it? We don't have it. That might be it, though. That might be it. The referee might blow his whistle now. Oh, big heavy challenge goes in there. Big flying challenge there from Mick Fitzsimons. Big flying challenge. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's probably not as worse as actually what it seemed, but probably is a yellow card. Oh, yeah, second yellow. He got yellow already, so Mick Fitzsimons sent off. We played the 4 minutes, ref. Time to blow it up. Time to blow it up now. Is he going to allow one last attack? It looks like he is. Looks like he is. One last attack. One last attack, Brendan Rodgers. Into the space, Brendan. Oh, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. Oh, he's put it over the bar, and Derry have won it. Fuck's sake. What a load of balls, man. What a load of balls. Oh. There we go. Final whistle blows. Derry have beaten Dublin. Derry beat Dublin 111 to 13 points. Dublin have completely thrown that one away. 5 points up at half time. We were cruising. We looked solid. We looked brilliant. And unfortunately, in the second half, the same old Dublin has turned up. And I said that at half time on the stream. I said it, that Dublin, how many times down the years, in the last 1 or 2 years, have we just completely caved to the pressure? And that is exactly what has happened there. Fair play to Derry. They came back into it. The goal definitely changed the game. A wonderfully, well, not a wonderfully taken goal. It was a scrappy goal in the end from Noel Toner, and it sort of just bounced around the place. But yeah, very, very disappointed with that result, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, you know, we've just completely thrown it away, and it's the same old Dublin. I mean, there are positives to take from the game, but the finish to the game is very, very disappointing. Very, very disappointed, in my opinion. Fair play to Derry. Fair play to their fans. Yeah, we completely threw that away. Completely threw it away, in my opinion. But yeah, 3 minutes left. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, was that extra minute the referee played? Was it warranted? You know, I don't want to take anything away from the Derry victory, but you know, I don't know. Maybe the foul kind of added an extra minute on. But yeah, fair play. Derry get the victory, 111 to 13 points. I will be recording the match reaction in about a couple of minutes' time, so make sure to see that when it pops out on the channel. We'll be doing that in about 5 or 10 minutes' time, and we'll be dissecting this game in a little bit more detail. But fair play in the end to Derry for getting the victory. Congratulations to them. I am very disappointed, and I might go drown my sorrows now a little bit later. But same old for Dublin. Unfortunately, we've just absolutely bottled it, thrown it away, and I think, Desi, it might be time to go. It might be time to go, in my opinion. But we'll discuss that all in the match reaction. So cheers anyone who tuned into this stream. If you could hit the like button and subscribe, it would make me feel better about this loss. And we'll see us all in the match reaction in about 10 minutes' time.